actually suspect is 89,000 miles. Who would have believed it? Wow. Why am I always driving into the sun when I try and take these? Okay, guys, and welcome to, I believe it's Rhino Ramps International episode 35. Well, this is not the main thrust of this episode. This thing on the thermostat housing has been leaking again. So I'm just gonna tighten up the bolts again. I did add some fluid, or coolant, but not much. Okie doke. Okay, this is just snugging up these bolts. I'm not gonna film this, but it's just snugging these up until they're hopefully quits leaking. Okay, where are we here? Got some geese honking with ancient privilege. Okay, remember how I said first the thermostat, the gauge was reading low. Later I said it was reading a little bit warm. Well, guess what? Bad thermostat. Thermostat stuck closed on the way back from Rochester. Then the gauge went up and up and up. I saw it. And I thought, well, it doesn't act like it's overheating. Maybe the gauge is reading wrong. Thinking I was smarter than the gauge. Well, guess what? When steam started pouring out from underneath the hood, yeah, I knew it was an overheat. So I pulled over and I overheated the motor so badly when I put it in neutral, it didn't just, it's just stalled. So I got it pretty hot. And so first things first, I got out and I did something else I shouldn't have done. I opened the cap very carefully and it just geysered dark yellow. Yeah. So I lost a bit of the coolant. I blasted out a bit more. I always carry plenty, at least with Air Cougar anyway. And yeah, so I'm trying to fill it back up. Wonderful case of Minnesota Nice. 5 or 6 people stopped to help. I have trouble filling it because it's so cold or so windy that I'm having trouble getting the the coolant into the the radiator opening. And I said, okay, this is a stuck thermostat. So I tried to take the thermostat out, and it was so cold that my fingers just couldn't do it. It was just like almost blizzard conditions. Yeah, it's mid to late April, so wonderful Minnesota weather. So I just tightened it down again, got it cooled up, and Air Cougar would only run till get the overheat mark for about 2 minutes after 17 minutes of rest each time. I called Jason, he agreed with me, it's the thermostat. And we, so I limped it home that way. It took me almost to midnight to get home. For those of you who know the area, I stopped on Bixby Road just north of that big church. And then I stopped on Rose Street before getting on the North Cedar. 17 minutes rest the whole time. And finally I got it back in right in the garage when the temperature's on high. So I walked to the parts store today. No, I didn't. I drove, that's right, because it was cool again. And they said they had to order it, so I got 2 gaskets. And, one to put on with the real thermostat, and one when, Lord willing, I pull the thermostat tonight, so I have a car that I can run for more than 2 miles at a stretch. And you might wonder about my filming location for all this. There's a park on the way, and I got caught behind a classic Midwestern streetlight, one of the ones that may or may not change during the reign of the current monarch. And so I stopped at this park and I filmed this lake because I just love these interacting waves. Sometimes I walk here. It's a pretty hefty walk, but I walk here and just stare at these. And hope you enjoyed some measure of peace from these as well. I think it's been there for like 2 years, or at least a year. I've always meant to get out to this island. Sometimes the water's been low enough I probably could have done it. This car wizard has stated life can be made a lot easier with some proper extensions. I'm not going to film this. It's just getting out 2 bolts on the, Lord willing, getting out 2 bolts on the thermostat housing. Okay, there's our culprit. Looks pretty harmless, doesn't it? Okay, so we cleaned up this bottom surface. That gasket was pretty much disintegrated. No really idea why. Now this was actually pretty clean. I'd like to take credit for that, and I am, because I'm the one who put the last one in. Now, the way I do this is, this comes apart, this tab comes off, this peels off, this sticky, you put this on here, so it holds in place when you put it back. Then we're going to try a test drive. Okay, it's back in without the thermostat. Now, a little bit on how I did this. The housing came out, I took off this one line. This one comes to the distributor, so it's really important. I got this one loose so I could take it out, clean it off. I think I showed some of that. Anyway, then I got the one bolt in, and I realized if I dropped the other one, I'd never see it again. So I took a pair of pliers, took them out a notch, and fit it in there. I couldn't get it to start, so I took it out again, and I took a single Phillips head screwdriver till I could wiggle it, till I could go all the way through the hole in the casing and down to the bottom of the hole. And then after a little bit of flanking, a little bit of twisting of this, I got it back together. And now let's fill it up and take it for a test drive. Okay, used up the rest of my concentrate, and hope Herr Cougar appreciates artesian water from New Zealand. Okay, for our test drive, I figured I'd take Herr Cougar out to Princess Owatonna Spring. Yeah, I normally get out here on Saturdays. I walk out here, even though that's quite a trek. And you can see the temperature gauge here. Herr Cougar is cool as a cucumber. So, correctly diagnosed and interim fixed. You might say, well, why are you going to bother to put in the new thermostat? Well, okay, engines are designed to run at a certain temperature, and if you don't have them at that temperature, they can get what's called a high-speed skip. Not a miss, but a skip. And Herr Cougar is absolutely venerable technology, so yeah, we do everything we can to make this thing run as best as we can. Oh yeah, 2 funny stories about Princess Owatonna Spring. One, people on the coast don't seem to understand the Midwest. When I first told someone on the West Coast that I just drank from Princess Owatonna Spring, he asked me if that was a metaphor for cunnilingus. True story. The second is, my father was not doing well last time I visited him, and he got 3 things that might have helped. He got some Zithromax, and he cut down on it, got some Nicorette gum and cut down on his smoking, and he drank water from Princess Owatonna Spring. In fact, I brought him my entire supply. Now, I think that last bit is the next interesting, so we're going to go with that one. Okay, I'm not going to film too much of this because basically it's the opposite of what we did yesterday. Instead of taking out the thermostat, we're putting in a new one, Lord willing. I did have an idea, though. This gasket's in really good shape, seeing it's only been put in yesterday. So I decided to keep this one on and save one for the next time my thermostat sticks. Hopefully not in a blizzard that time. Okay, we're at Imagine Theater in Lakeview, the site of the pretty spectacular breakdown in episode 10, and I don't think I've been back since. The temperature has been rock steady the whole way, just on the right side of the O in normal. I don't remember it ever being so steady, so this is a total success here. Got this one fixed. While I was buying bike parts today, I decided to split this episode up into 2 episodes, one where I'm working on Herr Cougar and one where I'm working on the bike exclusively. Well, guess that's about it, guys. Keep between the ditches, and yeah.